it would be, at least 3 free calls to if they need to speak to a doctor. And if the psychology is, if it's in Latin America where we've got psychology, then the psychology app would be available as well for them.
Excellent, thank you. I'll wait and hear other questions with you. Thank you, Daniel.
No problem. Okay, who's up next? Come on, someone must have a question.
While we're waiting, I'll ask, this seems to be the most lucrative business venture that we've seen to date for Doc.com with the vaccines. So I'm just curious about how to make it accretive to earnings, to bank the profits and savings from the start, and how you protect the baby, so to speak. Let's call it a baby, the golden child there. When so many startups get distracted to blow cash, so I believe you're implementing oversight, prioritizing, focusing, applying diligence and patience, performance. So could you just give us a little bit on that? How to secure and maintain this pretty neat project that you're doing.
So we're bringing a lot of value in through this. So we have to protect that, and we have to invest it in the right places. So we need to expand the company, because we need to move to other countries, like, the Middle East, for example, into Africa. Now, we are working on a deal in Africa as well, which I can touch on later, in a little bit of detail, because it's still very new. Charles was just actually over in Africa maybe 3 weeks ago now. He was meeting with the UN there, and so we're looking at another partnership with sort of a company probably with the size of TrackPhone with users. So we want to onboard that. But what we need to do is we need to get this vaccine side sorted first, because that's going to bring in a lot of money for us, which we can use to invest in all different things. Plus, we want to change the whole model of the company. So right now we're going through this restructure. So as you're seeing from the last day, there was a lot of people who got made redundant in the company because we were too heavy in certain areas. So people had to go so we could cut costs. We've changed servers. We're closing some of the offices that we don't need anymore because people are working from home more. We're telemedicine service online anyway. So we've been cutting costs and saving to get ready for the next stage. People's titles in the company are changing. Charles is going to have a slight change of role as well in the company going forward. So there's a lot of different things with new people coming in and shifting about, because we're moving into the next stage now where we need different people for the next growth stage that we're going to. So just, making sure that it's basically managed correctly for the global expansion that we need to do, and for bringing in the new contracts. So a lot of the contracts that were done in the past were okay, but they maybe weren't the best, the best terms. So some of them now we're renegotiating, and you'll have seen some people were saying, the services were down in Mexico. That's because we've been renegotiating contracts and doing things in the background, as well as changing over servers and everything else. And this was all to bring in more money for Doc and stop where we had a lot of wastage, let's say. It wasn't efficient working. So we're just re-changing all these things around. Now, to answer your question with the sort of the value we do with the vaccines, that's why we want to go all in on crypto, either into stable coins or into the other volatile cryptos, because we can't get any value in the banks having it. So we can, start an account with Morgan Stanley or JP Morgan, anything like that, and hold all the money there. But we get better gains having, say, in custody with someone like Celsius, for example, opening a corporate account with them. We can get paid very good yields on stable coins alone, somewhere around 10, 11% per annum on that. Now, that's a lot of money if you're talking about millions of dollars being stored that we can use. And we can use that interest to continue building the company without touching our initial principal. Same as if we invest some money in Bitcoin, the Bitcoin price goes up and we're also earning on that interest as well. So this is the whole thing that Charles was talking about in the AMA, that we want to go full on crypto. So yes, MTC, we've got a lot of MTC still to buy back that we need to do because we're bringing on more users. We need to do that rewards distribution, but we also want to go fully decentralized in terms of all the doctors. Because one thing we learned with the US expansion with TrackPhone was that the salaries for doctors are very, very high, and it was costing the company a lot of money to keep the services going. So the way we want to build it is with this Doc for Doctors app that we've been talking about a number of times, where we basically bring in doctors from other places, from other surgeries, that can tap into the doc services with their patients as well as answering calls on the doc side. And you have specialists that you can bring in as well in certain areas that they can be referred to through doc. So we think that Doc for Doctors is going to be a really good thing. I'm bringing a lot more users and a lot more data, which we're going to be able to sell. Because you've got to remember, we've got the business-to-business, the B2B sales is one way we generate revenue, and then the other one is data. So the data sales up to now have been very, very small. Everything has been business to business, B2B. So we need to expand the data side, and this is where we're going to start this with the vaccines, and then do with all these other contracts we want to build out on, and then do this whole decentralized doctor network where we start actually paying doctors that take calls in MTC. So not only just rewarding the patients for every full consultation they do, for every doctor that answers a call, they get a certain amount of MTC for that as their payment. And then they can either keep the MTC or they can convert to anything else they want into fiat or Bitcoin or whatever. So we're bringing more utility to the token than the MTC. Does that answer your question, Gene?
Yes, that answers, and it tells me that you're focusing on things that are going to be accretive to earnings, that are lucrative, and focusing on just a small set of things, the most important things. So now I'll stand down and let someone. You guys ask a question. All right, thank you.
They're usually all so talkative in the chat, and then come. Just one other thing that I'll say with the